watching India Today Global with me, Ishita Mitra. It's Tuesday morning in the Indian capital, and at this hour, we bring you the latest from around the globe. Starting with developments from Russia-Ukraine war, Moscow has intensified its attacks on Ukraine, unleashing a large-scale missile and drone assault on cities including Kyiv and Kharkiv that killed about 7 people while injuring several others. Now, the strikes, which have hit energy infrastructure, have resulted in massive power and water outages across the country, worsening the humanitarian crisis. In response, the US has condemned the aggression and is working with international partners to help Ukraine repair its damaged infrastructure and support its defense efforts. Moving to West Asia now, after a period of heightened conflict, the immediate risk of a large-scale war between Israel and Hezbollah has eased somewhat. Now, this is according to a US General C.K. Brown. However, he has cautioned that the underlying threats from Iran and its regional allies remain significant, with potential for further escalations. Now, this comes after Hezbollah launched hundreds of rockets and drones at Israel, and Israel's military struck Lebanon to prevent a larger attack. It is being described as one of the biggest clashes in more than 10 months of border warfare between the two. Meanwhile, Israel has issued evacuation orders for several areas in Gaza as the conflict with Hamas continues to escalate. Now, the Deir el-Balah municipality says Israeli evacuation orders have so far displaced 250,000 people in Gaza. Now, the Israeli military said it killed dozens of Palestinian gunmen in the area of Khan Yunis and the outskirts of Deir el-Balah in the past 24 hours and located large quantities of weapons. Now, coming to Japan, the country's defense ministry says it has taken defensive measures after a Chinese military aircraft breached its airspace near the Senkaku Islands, an area contested by both the nations. Tokyo says it experienced a serious violation of sovereignty when a Chinese Y-9 surveillance aircraft briefly entered its airspace over the East China Sea, calling the intrusion a significant threat to its national security and unacceptable behavior. The Japanese government responded by scrambling fighter jets to intercept the aircraft, marking this as the first confirmed instance of such an incursion by Chinese military aircraft since Japan began its anti-airspace incursion measures. On to Pakistan now. At least 73 people have been killed in the province of Balochistan when separatist militants attacked police stations, railway lines, highways, as well as security forces launched retaliatory operations. Now, Pakistan's military says that 14 soldiers and police, along with 21 militants, were killed in fighting after the largest of the attacks which targeted bus and trucks on a major highway. The Baloch Liberation Army has claimed responsibility for the operation they called Haroof or Dark Windy Storm. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has vowed that security forces would retaliate and bring those responsible to justice. In another major news, the collapse of a dam in eastern Sudan has caused severe flooding and resulting in about 30 fatalities and significant damage to homes and infrastructure. The disaster has worsened the already dire conditions as Sudan is struggling with the effects of ongoing civil war, and efforts to provide relief and support to the affected communities are being hampered by such challenging conditions. Moving to Germany now, the country's Chancellor Olaf Scholz has announced a series of new security measures. This is in response to a recent stabbing attack in Solingen linked to ISIS that claimed about 3 lives. It was carried out by a Syrian man, and the measures include stricter regulations on weapons and accelerated deportations for individuals deemed as security threat. Now, the measures aim to enhance public safety and address rising concerns about terrorism and extremist activities. Some news from Canada now. The country has implemented a 100% tariff on electric vehicles imported from China, citing concerns over unfair trade practices and market manipulation. Now, this decision reflects a broader trend of protectionism and trade disputes between Canada and China, mirroring similar actions taken by the US earlier. Now, the tariffs are expected to impact trade relations and the automobile industry in both the countries. In another news, it has been revealed that Telegram CEO Pavel Durov has been arrested in France on serious charges which includes pornography, drug trafficking and fraud. French authorities have stated that the arrest is a result of a criminal investigation and is not politically motivated. The arrest has sparked international attention and raised questions about the legal and political implication for Durov and his company. Now ending this segment with some climate news, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has reported that ocean temperatures in the Pacific Islands are rising 3 times faster than the global average, highlighting the region's extreme vulnerability to rising sea levels. Now addressing the Pacific Islands Forum in Tonga, Guterres warned that the Southwest Pacific has experienced sea level increases more than twice the global rate over the past 30 years. Now, this could lead to drastic impacts like intensified storm surges and coastal flooding. He's further urged global leaders to significantly boost climate adaptation investments and fulfill financial commitments, including doubling adaptation finance to about $40 billion annually by 2025. So that's it on this segment of Top Story. Stay tuned to India Today Global for more such updates.